All right. And we are live. All right. Good morning, everybody, and welcome to the first day of November. Where has the time gone this year? Um, it's good to have you. It's good to have everyone here. And we'd like to welcome you back to how to build a recession-proof side hustle. This is our encore webinar from the one we did earlier last week. And we are thrilled to bring back Noemi Viver. She is a Amazon FBA seller and also works by day in a 9 to 5 job. And so we're here to share with you the opportunity that you can have to not only work 9 to 5, as many of the folks here do through Albert's List, which is a job search community here on Facebook with 48,000, but to also combat rising inflation, high costs, economic uncertainty, and all the wonderful layoffs that we've had over the past year and a half. And so, in the next hour, you're going to hear in this webinar what you can do to build an income producing side hustle and get yourself to a point where you feel confident, happier, and more secure in this uncertain and crazy world. So without further ado, I'm going to go ahead and hand it over to Noemi. I will be reading off questions towards the end of this webinar, but feel free to ask those questions as they come in and we'll address them. And Noemi, over to you. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Albert. I'll share my screen and we'll go over the agenda first, and then I'll do a little bit introduction about myself there. So let me get this started here. Albert, you can see it?
Yep, I can see it.
Awesome. So as Albert mentioned, this is a webinar about a side hustle. This side hustle is Amazon arbitrage, which will define what it is a little bit later in the webinar, as there's many different ways to make money on Amazon, many different business models. This is just one of them. And this is a graph actually of my results of the very first year, which I started it last year. And of course, those are gross sales, right? Which is not the same as net profit, but $90,000 in the span of 1 year. That was March to March inclusive. Now you do see there is various ups and downs. This is just to already preface by saying that this business is very much active, right? We're not talking about passive income where you buy a rental property, get a management in their company, and then collect money if it works out well, or stock and hold it over time and, I don't know, receive dividends or something like that. This is very active. The time you put in, the effort you put in, you see it in the payouts. I had different things throughout the course of the year. Life happens that affected it, right? Some months I was just not shipping anything at all. That reflected in my gross sales. And some month I was just on it and shipping out 20, 30 boxes and the sales spike. So it's very much what you put in, you get out. And there is a saying in this business that is, you feed the beast being Amazon and you being the one that feeds it. So you got to just keep feeding the beast if you're going to do Amazon arbitrage. Just keep that in mind. The more you put in, the more sales you're going to have, of course. So with the agenda, we'll do a little bit introduction about myself, talk about the different business models, different fulfillment methods, the operating expenses, and the few capital expenses there are. It's not much, but so mainly the operating expenses to run this business. What does it cost on a monthly basis? What does it cost to you, right? Say if like you were not to make any sales, not to make any profit that month, you'd still have some reoccurring expenses there. So we'll talk, what are those? The business cycle. Again, I forgot to take this out, but I would like to do a live sourcing example. Unfortunately, there's so much, or I guess fortunately, there's so much information already packed in the webinar that there's just no time for the sourcing example. But we'll definitely talk about how, in general, high level do we source. And then the profit, as I say, is not the same as gross sales, how much profit you make, right? So we'll talk about that and introduce the bootcamp, which is just more when you want to learn in detail and want to learn it fast without spending hours and hours on YouTube. there is a bootcamp there as well that we offer, and leave enough time for Q&A. Now, this picture over here that I added is a UPS truck. They actually came to where I used to live. I was in a house in Antioch. So this is the UPS truck, and all those boxes are mine. I was shipping them to Amazon, and instead of me taking them to UPS, you could just schedule a pickup. It only costs $4. No matter how many boxes or how much weight you have, it's $4 per pickup. If you schedule it through pirateship.com, it costs a little bit more if you do it through the UPS website, but if you go through pirateship.com, create an account there, which is free, schedule your pickup, $4. They come and they do all the heavy work for you, which is the most like physical part, right? Is lifting up these boxes. So here the mailman was helping load the truck, and I had about, I think the shipment was 20 something or possibly 30 boxes, all those medium lows boxes. So as Albert mentioned briefly, or we talked about at the beginning of the call, I work for Comcast. I do have a full-time corporate job, office job. In fact, I go to the office 4 times a week. So that's quite a bit post-COVID, but I do love my job. I've worked at another prior, Fortune, what are they, 4 or something, company before. And the culture compared to Comcast was very different. So I always like to say, Comcast has such a great culture. I love my job there. I hope to stay for a long time. I started as a senior financial analyst there in 2020, just like 6 weeks before COVID started. And eventually last year, I got a promotion to manager of business operations. So I'm working in the Comcast business when they sell the services to businesses, to that division, supporting California. Now, Amazon arbitrage, I mean, a lot of side hustles, right? You could make them your full-time and they have great potential. I kept Amazon as a side hustle because my income is already pretty high to replace and to take that risk and just jump full in Amazon. Plus, it also provides me a lot of perks that I do heavily rely on, especially having 2 little girls, like health insurance, those 401k. When you're an entrepreneur, I don't know how that, you do it, but it has more costs because you don't have that share of the employer. So it also gives me a lot of perks and stable income security and all of that. However, in 2021, I was still a senior analyst. I was pregnant with my second one and I separated shortly, after I found out I was pregnant with my second one. So already anticipating that I will have a second daycare. I mean, it's going to be fine while I'm on maternity leave, but at some point I will return to work and I'll have a second daycare. So I had at that time a 2.5-year-old and pregnant with my second one. And while I had my senior financial analyst job, it just wasn't enough anticipating my increasing costs. So I thought, I need to start a side hustle. I need to find something that I can make a little bit extra. It's not like I was going to be too short, but like the comfort level was not there either, right? And I did have savings, but it's like, I don't want to dip into savings. I don't want to leave like barely making it. So I do need to start something to give me that comfort, that peace of mind. And I wrote down a bunch of ideas. This is my notes on the phone on New Year's Eve. And you don't see Amazon arbitrage here, but if you want to explore these other ones, I found them to be flexible as well. That was my criteria, be able to do it maybe on the day or 2, like on the weekend, if the girls are with their dad, I want to be able to pick it up then, but not necessarily have like those committed hours, right? So flexibility. And it also could not be something at minimum wage because that's just not, feel like my value has gone up for minimum wage. So I'm going to find something where 1 hour of my time feels worth to me. At some point, it was worth minimum wage to me. I would take those type of jobs. At this time in 2021, it was no longer that. So it had to be something that I could somehow make it worth more than just 15, 20. And so I wrote those down. I came across that same day, actually, Amazon arbitrage. And instead of writing it down, I just started to go into what is that, like a rabbit hole, just like learning and exploring and thinking, wow, this is actually a really great way to start a side hustle. And I can do it any night for a little bit while my girls are sleeping, or on the weekend, or not do it at all if something goes on. So I decided I'm going to try like full steam. I just went for it. So a few days later, January 10, as you can see, I got an email from Amazon congratulating me that I'm now a professional seller. All that means is that I made an account with them. So I became a professional seller. I got my account set up with them. And I started researching right away what items I'm going to sell on Amazon. So I started sourcing. You don't need to have much just to get started, right? Because we'll learn in the business model why you can just source early on. So I started sourcing, and by February, like the following month, I had already sent my first shipment, which was huge, close to 20 boxes probably too. And so February, I shipped my first box. And by March, as you can see here, March 2022, I already had 9,000 gross sales because my shipment was so huge and I had done my research. I bought items that not only were profitable, but that they were already selling on Amazon. They already were not bestsellers, but like the top 2 or 3% within that rank, within that category rank. So that means, say, if I'm selling groceries on Amazon, I'm not going to offer some specialty nut that like nobody buys. I'm going to focus on the nuts that are, or like on the groceries that are on the top 2%, like most moving and selling out of all that category of groceries. Again, that's why there's a bootcamp, because there's a lot of like, little tricks and technicalities and whatnot. But in essence, to say you can get it going very fast, all you have to do is research those sourcing products, buy it, prep it, ship it. And then if you did the research correctly, if it's a high moving item, then you see sales come in very early on, very fast, as you can see here. And then the ups and downs, as I mentioned earlier, that is because I had different things. In May, my second daughter was born. So I didn't really do much May, June, July. So those sales are from prior shipments. I was trying to ship quite a bit early on, and then it just kind of dropped off until like September. I made another big shipment in September, and you see that reflected in October, November, right? So it's just ups and downs depending what I had going on in my life. If you have a little bit more time, somebody that can help, or currently work part-time hours or whatnot, you can see way better results than myself. I was only working some weekends, not every week. So like some Saturdays and not even every Saturday, if that makes sense. So not a lot of hours for really good results in gross sales. Now, just to put in perspective, how big is Amazon? They've made 280 billion sales in North America in 2021, which was an 18% growth from the year prior. And they grew another 13%. So they went to 316 billion this last year in sales. So they keep growing as a company. They keep having more and more sales. I do have also source links if anybody's wondering where do I getting these numbers from. But the best part, this is the key one, is that 60% of all the sales on Amazon are by third-party sellers like you and me, other people that they start their brand and they put it on Amazon, or they buy existing products, right? Like they go to a Target and they buy a lotion for a baby that already exists, like from what is that? Like, I don't know, Aquaphor. And they find, oh, that's profitable on Amazon. I'm going to ship it to Amazon and sell it through Amazon. So those are all third-party sellers. 60% of unit sales are by third-party sellers. So there's definitely, when you think, oh, is it saturated? Is there a lot of people doing this already? Look at the sales, it's growing, and 60 of it is, and one person cannot cover, it's like not possible to sell every possible item you could sell on Amazon, right? So there's definitely room, and there is niches. Like one person likes to focus on toys, one person, I like to do groceries. So you end up finding, some others just do private label. You end up finding your niche there. 1 second, I don't know why I went back. And then lastly, the prime customers in the USA, 170 million. That's just for perspective. So let's talk about the different business models, the different ways you can make money on Amazon. And you could explore some of these other ones if it interests you more. I just particularly only do Amazon arbitrage. But there is private label. What's private label? That would be when you develop your own product. So you would work with a factory, whether it's here or with a factory that you can look up in, what's the website? Alibaba are usually a lot of Chinese factories are there. So you could work with different manufacturers to get your own product, whether it's something you create, like invent, or whether it's something that it already exists, but you want to add your own brand into it, right? Like you could just sell these label maker, and the factory might already have the exact model, but all you're doing is branding it. That's still private label because you're creating your own brand, putting it into a product, you're creating the packaging. It's a lot more time consuming because you also have to trademark your brand with the USPTO, which is a very expensive process, and it can take some time too, but you need to trademark it so that you can be brand registered on Amazon so that they can then protect your brand. And not only that, so not only are you also developing the product, the packaging, taking time because then they have to ship it here, possibly doing samples, make sure quality control is good, but you also have to create a listing on Amazon that includes the title, the description, being optimized, kind of like when you create a website, right? Optimization is key. Take professional pictures, possibly even videos. That whole mid section, when you scroll down on a listing on Amazon, there's a whole pictures and this and that. So all of that is coming out of your pocket. It's very time consuming. You're working with a bunch of different vendors. One is a photographer, one is like the ads. Like you have to run ads too, because as a new item, you might fall on page, who knows, 10, right? You want to get organic sales eventually. So it's a great way to make money, but it's also a bigger risk because you need more initial funds and you need to really focus on that one item, pay a lot of attention like your baby until it eventually already gets organic sales, right? So great way to make money, a lot of time consuming and very large risk. And this would be an example, like a private label like this, any item. Then there is arbitrage, where you're not doing none of that. You're simply finding a product that is already out there, whether it is at a brick and mortar store or at an online store. So say I could go to walmart.com or I could go physically to a Target and look at an item and say, okay, here at Target, it costs $4.99. How much is it selling on Amazon? And then I go on Amazon and I see, oh, it's going for $14.99. And you might think, why that would not happen? Like, why would anybody pay $15 for something that I can find at Target at $5? Well, it does happen, and that's why arbitrage, it works. It's not going to be every item. This is the key. Like, you can't just give up if the first 10 items you find, you're like, oh, they're not profitable, they're not selling, or Amazon themselves are selling them. Sometimes Amazon has partnerships, right, with, like, say, Aquaphor. So they'll sell on behalf of, or buy from Aquaphor directly, whatever that works. But it is harder to find those items. It's more time consuming in the sense like finding the profitable item, but you're not spending any money. All you're doing is researching. You're going to the store. How much does this item cost me? How much is it selling on Amazon? What are the fees that Amazon would charge me? Oh, cool. It's profitable. Okay, now I'm going to look how often is it selling? Because even if an item is profitable, if it doesn't really sell, what's the point of shipping it to the warehouse and incurring storage charges, all that stuff, right? So all of those things is what's going on in your mind with arbitrage, but there is no, like, the listing is created, you're going to find it on Amazon, right? You're going to find that item on Amazon. So the listing is already created. There's no ads you have to run. You're just checking, is it already selling? Are customers already finding that item? All you're doing is just buying it from the store, whether it's online or brick or mortar, either one works. If it's like a physical store, we call it retail arbitrage, RA. If it's online store, we call it online arbitrage, OA. So buy it, you bring it home, you prep it according to Amazon standards and ship it to their warehouse. And that's pretty much it. Go to the next one. It's very, very simple and a lot less risk. Then there is wholesale, which is doing like arbitrage, but on a large scale, right? So it's like finding that one item, but instead of buying 10 or 30 or 100, you'd be buying it by the pallets. You'd go directly to Aquaphor and try to make a partnership, a wholesale partnership with them, and say, hey, I would like to buy, 2 pallets or whatever it is. And then you prep that one item by the pallets and send it to Amazon. However, you do need to be set up to be able to do pallets and ship by the pallets, which, I think you would need a warehouse for that. So it's also a great way, but it's something that I don't do just because I don't have that ability to do it on pallets. And you would also need to be good at like negotiating or finding those vendors that are willing to sell to you at a wholesale level versus arbitrage. You go to the store and you just buy it. You might get some looks like, why is she buying 50 of these things? But nobody's stopping you. You can buy however much there is at the store. And then there is drop shipping, which is, hopefully I explain it good, but this is, for example, you list an item on, like you found an item at Walmart.com that's profitable and you put on your Amazon account, okay, I have 2 of that, like I have stock of that item, but you never actually purchase it. I mean, when you get a customer to purchase it from Amazon, you then order it from Walmart and have it delivered directly, like you ship it directly to that customer. And sometimes, how Walmart's like free shipping if you spend, I don't know if they have a minimum, but say like, so sometimes it's like you're not even paying shipping, you're not paying many of the Amazon fees because you're fulfilling it yourself. You're like getting around a lot of things. And it's drop shipping because it's kind of like the original store is shipping it directly to the customer. But I put an X because that's actually the way I described it is against the rules. You can't have Walmart ship directly something to the customer. And if, say, the customer notices it and complains, your account would get shut down. So it's also very risky in that sense. Once your account is shut down, it's not very easy. Customer service for Amazon customers is very different than customer service for Amazon sellers. It's not very easy to get to what you need to get with their customer service. So try to avoid any type of things that might compromise. I think they call it like gray hat, possibly, when you try to do kind of like sneaky things to do your business. There is some way to do drop shipping, but all my research, I couldn't even figure out how to do it properly. So I just X'd it and kept focusing on arbitrage, which is simple. It works, low risk, and you can scale it up as much as you want. I definitely have seen people making millions because they focus themselves and their partner in gross sales. I mean, net is still in the several hundred thousands because they're focusing on this full time. They also hit clearance aisles, all of those things. Now, fulfillment methods, we've got 2 ways of fulfilling. One is fulfilled by merchant, which would be by you. That would mean, so I go to the store, I buy my products, I bring it home, and then I'm going to keep it home, but list it on Amazon. Like, say, yeah, I have 10 of stock on that listing, but I'll keep it here. I'm not going to ship it to the warehouse. I'll keep it here. And when I get a sale, then I'll fulfill it. I'll package that individual order and ship it out. If I get 30 orders in a day, it's 30 different fulfillments, boxes I got to package, and addresses and all those things. So to me, this is very time consuming. It does have less fees than doing fulfilled by Amazon. So it has less fees, but you're individually, you have to track every single sale. So when it's time to scale up, it becomes harder because you're not only tracking every sale, you're fulfilling individually, constantly going to the UPS to drop it off, etc. Plus, if you get any type of complaint or question or any type of thing, if you fulfill it by merchant, you're responsible to reply or to take care of or whatnot. However, when it's fulfilled by Amazon, what you do is you buy it, bring it home, prep it, ship it out to the warehouses of Amazon, and then they store it there until they get a customer a sale, and then they're the ones who are putting it in their Amazon boxes and shipping it out. And if there is a question about that item, if there is a return, if there is a complaint, if there is anything, Amazon deals with it because you paid their certain fees for doing fulfillment by Amazon, which, by the way, that fee varies depending on the weight and the size of the item. So, but there's some more fees, but it becomes very efficient and hands-off. So to me, it's totally worth it. I only focus on items that are profitable doing FBA. I don't even do anything FBM. This is an example of how they take ownership if you do FBA. So I got a bad review saying, hey, you shipped me the wrong item. This is not whatever sauce. Instead, it was hot sauce. I want a refund or the right item shipped. I didn't have to do anything. Amazon automatically crossed it out because they realized, well, if I did FBA, it's not my fault that I shipped the wrong one. It's Amazon who shipped it from the warehouse. So they took off that seller review. People can review the product or people can review the seller. This is a seller review, but it didn't affect my store, my online Amazon store, because Amazon crossed it out. There's other examples here, like I didn't receive the correct balance. I don't even sell household things, so I'm not even sure why they got drapes or whatever they got, but Amazon crossed it out. And then the good thing is you do get to keep the positive ones that may not even have been due to you. Like some customers are like, wow, I got this ahead of schedule. Well, I didn't do anything about that, but if you want to give me 5 stars for it, I will take it, and Amazon will let me keep it. And they're not crossing that out. So I think Amazon FBA just has so many advantages over doing FBM, allows you to scale up, and they take a lot of these little hassles or time-consuming things. You don't have to reply to questions or do much or handle returns, none of that. If you did FBM, also the returns would come to your location too, right? And yeah. So let's talk about some of the expenses. There is the capital expense. Like the only really big investment you have to make is this thermal printer. I think you can get around using a normal printer if you're doing like very low volume. They sell labels like by the sheet and whatnot, but it's very difficult, and the software is set up to the way that like it formats the labels for this type of format in a roll, right? So it's about $200 brand new, the thermal printer. They have some other off-brand. I recommend this one because it's called Rollo, ROLLO, Rollo. It's the gold standard, almost like, yeah. But it costs $200. There is some other ones that are other brands for a little bit cheaper, or sometimes you can also look on Facebook Marketplace. It's a great way to get a good deal there for a thermal printer. I got mine for $100 there. And then it's pretty much the only, like big expense. The rest is just operating ones. So that would mean supplies, like the little labels, which we print barcodes. The product barcode would go in there, or the 4x6 labels that you see in the image. That's for the shipping address. Like when you ship it to the warehouse, those go on the box, the big box. And then things like poly bags, like different little packaging supplies. This is a poly bag. It does have to have this suffocation warning label. All of these little things, we go in a lot more detail and speed in the bootcamp, of course, but it does have one of the Amazon requirements. If you do use a poly bag, it has to have this suffocation warning label. So you can either buy it printed already or buy one of those labels that you stick then on the poly bag. Tape, so for like your boxes, measuring tape too, you'll have to, when you ship boxes, you'll have to tell Amazon the dimension of the box and the weight, so that they can then tell you the cost to ship, since you'll buy the shipping labels off of Amazon, but they partner with UPS. So they're giving you heavily discounted. Like one of those large boxes you saw, I pay anywhere between $8 to $12, depending on what warehouse they assign me. To ship that big, almost 50-pound, I try to max it out to 50 pounds. Box, which is just like, it's so cheap, right? There's no way you could ship that to anybody, but Amazon gives you the discounted price. You do have to measure it, and those boxes, I know the size because I buy it off of Lowe's, but sometimes I reuse like a diaper box or whatever box. Sometimes you're shipping it to Amazon warehouse, so that's another perk too. It doesn't matter what box you ship it on, as long as it's not alcohol box, but they let you ship it on whatever. If you're shipping to the customer though, then it has to be a presentable, neat, like kind of clear box. And then lastly, so a little bit of supplies, the thermal printer, and lastly, subscriptions, which there's 4 to use to run the whole thing. One is Amazon Pro, $40 a month. You can't get around this one. They have a free version, but then each item you sell, they charge you $1. So if you sell more than 40 items a month, you might as well get the Amazon Pro. So it's kind of like your seller account, $40 a month. Keepa, which is where you research the history of an item. So in Amazon, right, the price can dip and go up and whatnot. When you're looking at it, it might be profitable, but maybe you're catching it on a very random day that it's up. Maybe the usual is actually $5 less. So you really want to check the history. You always check the history. Keepa helps you with that. History of price, how many sales it's got, how many sellers are on it. A bunch of information is on Keepa. That's $20 a month. Then Inventory Lab. This is the most expensive one, $70. But this one just does everything from early in like research. It tells you how profitable it is because it can tell you how much Amazon fees there will be when you're doing FBA, to when you're actually preparing your shipment, you're entering all your data there, what product this is, how much you paid, what store you bought it from. It then creates the appropriate label for it that then you print. So it like formats it for you with all the required information, expiry date, if it's a groceries item. To reports like profit and loss statement, which is used for your tax time. If you want to see profit by category, say you sold 4 different categories, now you want to see which one was more profitable. Profit by store, profit by so many different reports. And then it also tracks expenses. So your mileage, for example, or say like I buy more tape. Instead of having a separate Excel spreadsheet, I just enter it. There's a tab there for expenses. So one is for like things like mileage, which you can enter how many miles to the store and back, right? That's business deductible. Or things like tape, labels, whatever it is, I also enter it on this system because then it will flow to the profit and loss statement, which then for tax time, right, as much as you can deduct business applicable, you're going to do that. So it's a very powerful software. As it is expensive, but again, it takes care of so many things of the business and it's a time saver. And to me, it's easier to offset the $70 than to have all these different trackers and reports and like tools and whatnot. So like the time I save, I can make way more than that, than the $70 it costs. And then this one is a kind of silly one, but this is $9 to like format the larger 4x6 labels, easy labels plugin. All right, so let me see how we're doing on time. Like I say, it's so packed and I'm trying to make it really useful, helpful. Like I want for you to walk away thinking, wow, I did learn new things. This wasn't just like a sales pitch, right? So if I go super fast, I'm sorry. I'm trying to like really show you a good picture of what it would be to start this side hustle. And of course, you could always like, with what you see here, not only rewatch it, but like rabbit hole your own, like learn on your own and YouTube things and whatnot. There's so many though videos and whatnot that it does become, and there's different methods to do things too. So it does become time consuming, which is why we have a bootcamp. But I'm trying, like I said, to make it very full picture for you here. So this is a screenshot of Inventory Lab. As you can see, it's a website, right? inventorylab.com, and then sign into my account. And right here, I'm on the reports tab, category profitability. And you can see that, as I said, I focus on groceries. I sold a few items in some other categories, but not much. So I've sold 4,600 units in groceries from the time I started it to this is pulling up until like October of this year. So that many units, and it's made 100,000 gross sales there in revenue, but out of that, $15,000 was profit, which is a return on investment. It calculates there of 34%. And then the on hand is how much I still have with me, like how much stock I've not yet sold. So that wouldn't be reflecting those numbers, but it just tells me you have 71 items right now on hand. One category I was super profitable. You can see toy return on investment almost 100%, but I only sold 22. I think it was like 2 different toys that I found on like a sale somewhere, and I just bought them out, shipped it, and then they were very profitable. But that's just not my area. I enjoy groceries for many different reasons we could go into. But as you can see, this report, pretty cool. And then there is this other report, which is each sell individually, right? So the other one is like looking at it by category, but then this one it's like reconciling. So Inventory Lab talks to your Amazon account. Every time you have a sale on Amazon, it feeds into your inventory, or Inventory Lab reads it, so it can reconcile. So for example, that first one, right? The price that the customer paid was $26.23. The price that I paid, at the store was $7, and the profit was 7.66. So that means Amazon fees were around $12, which is ridiculous. But again, I kind of don't, yeah, I don't care what Amazon wants to charge, because they're doing so much work for me. Like, I don't have to make the listing, I don't have to marketing, I don't have to deal with returns, I don't have to store, right? I don't have to have a big warehouse. Amazon's doing all of that for me. All I know is that I spent $7 and I got 7.66 back. So I'll take that. Whatever the customer pays or whatever Amazon wants to charge, that to me, it's kind of a little bit irrelevant. I just consider it early on when I do my research. And when I did my research, it showed this item was profitable. And indeed, once it sold, $26, and Amazon took a big chunk, but I still made $7 out of just that one item. In a single day, I can have, I mean, you can have hundreds of sales. Just I have anywhere, when I'm on it, 20 to maybe 50 items in a day. Oh, that breaks it down there. The business cycle, I've touched on it already, so I'll just go fast on this one. But essentially, you're sourcing for the items, brick and mortar store or online. You're looking for profitability, but you're also looking that it's a fast moving item, that it sells quite a bit already. You then buy them physically, bring them to your house, or get them shipped to your house. You then package them according to Amazon standards. So it might mean, you know, if it's a glass bottle, a sauce that comes in a glass bottle, maybe you have to bubble wrap it first. But that's just common sense. Otherwise, it's going to break shipping it there, and then maybe you'll put it in a poly bag, right? If it's just a bag of, I don't know, something that's boxed, like a box of cereal, you might not have to do anything to that other than putting that little label over the barcode. So just different, prep it, essentially in short, prep it to Amazon standards, ship it to the warehouse, and simply monitor sales. After that is very hands-off. Reprice if needed. The price does change. Sometimes other sellers on that same listing try to undercut and lower the price to try to get all the sales. So you might have to determine, do I price match or do I hold until they run out of stock or whatnot. People usually, you know, good sellers, when they hop on a listing, they will just price match at the current price sale and keep it there stable. And then Amazon actually rotates who gets the actual sale. When a customer goes onto Amazon and they click buy, it assigns it to like, it's called the buy box, and it rotates. So basically, I might check that listing and it might say sold by Noemi, and you might check that same listing from like New York, I might say sold by Albert. So we might be getting sales on the same listing, we might be sharing that listing, but we could still both get sales, if that makes sense, which is a neat thing about Amazon. It like, if all else is the same, there's different things that affect the algorithm, and many sellers are getting sales. So even if there's several of them, I hope that makes sense. If not, drop a question there, like, what did you just say? And I'll try to clarify it. And this is a PO, profit and loss statement. This one is just for the year 2022. As we're saying, right? It's like, okay, 90,000 gross sales, cool. But how much money you actually kept? So in the 2022, the gross sales, the income was $70,000. The expenses, I opened it like this for a reason, so you could see like the different categories. But cost of goods sold is what I've actually spent in the merchandise itself, in the inventory. So that's 30,000. Then a bunch of Amazon fees and other expenses, which would be supplies, anything I might have deducted. Like I bought a Cricut, which I didn't use for this business, but it's for some business of mine. So I deducted it. Since I have this tool, I just deducted it here. Hotel stay, if you went somewhere for a business or you made it a business trip, you would deduct your hotel as well. So I just enter everything on this tool. So just keep that in mind, that this 6,000, ultimately it says 6,000 profit. But this is like the bottom I was possibly able to make it, which you want to make it as low as possible, because you're paying, you want to have a lot of profit, but you want to try to deduct as many things that you can possibly deduct for your business, so that way you're not paying tax, right? Federal, state tax, all that stuff on those things that you deducted, things like hotel if you did a business trip, the mileage, etc., subscriptions. whatnot. So it is 6,000. It's probably closer to 8,000 if I add some of the other things that are not applicable to arbitrage too. Like I bought also a subscription to start exploring private label. It's called Jungle Scout, and that one, it was there in August. I think it was like around 600 or 800. I forgot how much it was, but it was expensive, and I bought it. I bought the whole year premium, but I deducted it. And also what's not in here is all the cashback you can get. There was $30,000 that ran through my credit cards while I bought inventory. So all of that is getting, you might have my points, right? However you want to set up, you can really strategize that as well to get a lot of your cashback or credit cards. And you're paying that off anyway, since when Amazon pays you, right, not only is what you paid for the item, but on top of that, some profit. So you can accumulate things like that too. Some stores have even like Kohl's, spend $50, get 10. So maybe you want to just source at Kohl's. Things like that you can do to have even more profit, even if it's not technically in that number. And I feel like there was one more thing I wanted to say on this page, but it's escaping me right now. So maybe I'll come back later. And let's see, we'll go to questions in a second because we're almost at the end, so there'll be plenty of time of questions. Oh yeah, this one was what I was gonna say. You might also be thinking, 30,000, I don't really have that to just throw into a bunch of inventory. Neither did I. No, I did not just have 30,000. That's total for the year, right? But if you're looking, for example, just that February, my cost of goods sold, so however many purchases there were, the cost that I paid for those items was $1,400. Now, those items, say I actually bought 3,000 worth, but only 1,400 sold that month, then only that 1,400 would be reflected in that February, because this inventory lab works on an accrual basis. This might be a very technical word if you're not much into like accounting or finance, but basically it puts the expense on the day the expense happened, not when I bought it, but when it actually sold. So the 1,400 is when those items sold. They sold in February, so $1,400 went to February. Even if I bought those in January or the year prior or whatever I bought it, right? It sold 1,400 worth, it puts it in February. Now, when Amazon pays me, let's go like fast forward a few months. Let's say now it's April and I've already gotten paid for all of February and March profits, and I've made $1,500 profit. Not only I have back the cost of goods sold, but now I also have the profit back. So I'm putting just that money back into the business, right? So at the end of the year, sure, maybe I spent $30,000, but at any given point in time, I've only had 3,000 or 4,000 or maybe 5,000 in the business, because April, if I sold 4,000 worth, I probably had a little bit more than that, so 5,000 at any given time. And then Amazon pays me and I just buy more product, reinvest it. Amazon pays me and I just buy more. So it's just kind of recycle money, how I see it. And if you think about that, then if the most I've put at any given time is 5,000, as you see, like initial investment, and at the end of the year I got 6,000 profit out, that's a pretty good return on investment. Sure, I did some work, but I got a pretty good return on investment for that money that I put to work and I was working for. In terms of hours, you might be wondering that too. Okay, how much you've really worked at this to get that. On the weekends, I'd spend time. So usually a shipment takes me anywhere from 4 to 8 hours now that I already know the item that I purchased, right? So the most time consuming thing is sourcing, finding the items. But once you find it, you're just like a shelf stalker, where you just monitor. When you run out of stock, you go buy more, prep it, ship it. Monitor. When you run low, repeat, rinse and repeat. So that process is pretty fast. It's pretty mindless too. You could be watching a show and just putting these labels and prepping your packages, or listening to a podcast while you're doing these things. You can multitask. So it's not much time to prep. To me, it takes, like I said, 4 to 8 hours. So maybe I'm spending up to 10 hours on a month on these, which I've then calculated, okay, that's probably 100 to 120 hours for the year for that much money. So it's probably $60 an hour to $100 an hour. I didn't really track it, but high level, from what it takes me to prepare and calculating the full year. And considering some months I didn't even work at all, like May, June, I just had a newborn. I wasn't even doing anything. So I calculate 60 as like the minimum I was making by hour and more from there. If you want to assign it, like, is this really worth it for me? I found it to be worth. So now finally introducing the bootcamp, which by the way is business deductible, since it's something that applies to your business. We've got the early bird price at $147. It's 6 weekly lessons, and it goes over everything, like from the very beginning of do I need a LLC, which you don't, but like, how do I set up my sole proprietorship? Where do I get my EIN? How do I create an account? And we're doing this, not only am I explaining it, but then you have a week in between lessons. That's why it's not like a 1 day or 2 day bootcamp, even though it could. But this way, and also it's not like pre-recorded and you're on your own. Many courses are like they deliver you this digital thing and then you're on your own. But here you have a week in between to like, okay, well, I'm gonna go do it. And if I run into obstacles, I'm gonna go ask my questions, or like, what happened here? Why can I not get approved, or whatnot? What should I expect? All those things. So from the very beginning stages to how do we source? We'll probably come across profitable items. I don't doubt it. It's happened in the past bootcamp where we come across profitable items as we're doing examples and practicing, as we're sourcing. And the group is pretty small. So it's like, a few of you or all can even try. If you're actually taking action and keeping up, this pays off very quickly because we will find sourceable, profitable items. How to prep it, ship it, and I'll also do a live example. That means I will buy some items. I have a Trader Joe's nearby, so even though it's like low profit, and Trader Joe's also is, you have to get ungated, which is other term. But anyways, I'll do some live examples so you can see the very beginning to end as the weeks progress, as we're learning it. I'm doing it. I'm just showing you this is where you would click, but like, hey, I've got this item. This is what I'm doing now. This is where I'm packaging it, where I'm entering it, all those things. And then finally, they getting it shipped. And then how do we reprice, maintain, check things, monitor, all those things. It is recorded as well. And so if you can make it on the Friday, if you're watching it, say during the weekend, you could still submit your questions via email, chat, whatever it is, and then I'll address it during the live class the following week. At the end of that class, then I'll address any questions that came through the week as well. And we have the regular price, which is $60 more at $207. This happened at noon on Fridays, starting this Friday. I don't know why it doesn't say it there, but it starts in a couple of days. So I'll go to questions now. And Albert, if you'd like to read it to me, stop sharing. That way it's also recorded.
Yeah. So let's see. First question, what are Amazon's fees for FBA?
Yeah, so there is no set fee because it does vary by size and by weight. Sorry, I hope I didn't click anything. Yeah, cool. So if it's a light, it also varies by the price you put it on. So they have like, and there's also storage. So there's just a bunch of different fees. The best way to know is when you have one of these tools, you pick your listing, you grab the ASIN, which is the unique identifier of that listing, plug it, and then it breaks it down for that listing, what the fees are. It then reads what the weight is, what the size, what the price, all those things, and then it tells you the Amazon fees. So that way you know if it's profitable or not, but it's not set. It's not the same for every item, if that makes sense.
Yeah. Can you do FBA where Amazon will ship from their warehouse without you even having to buy the product yourself and ship it to Amazon?
So drop shipping.
Drop shipping, yeah.
Yeah, that is where you're saying you have the stock, but you're not buying it. You just set it up to where like you purchase it once the client gets it, or like automatically purchase it. I don't know how to do that, and that's not what I teach. So if there is a method, please research drop shipping if that's kind of what you're hoping to do. But
yeah,
it's very complicated, and you could get your account suspended if you don't get it right.
Do you need product on hand, or can you establish overseas supplier and cost, including shipping, and deliver to Amazon customers in 2 to 3 weeks? Sounds like another drop shipping question.
Yeah, I think this one is actually, I think this might be private label if you're like bringing it from abroad. Like if it's your item, then yes. With private label, again, research private label if that's what you want to do. This is why we want the business models. But with private label, I could order this from a manufacturer in China, say I want 2,000 units of them. It looks wonderful. Don't ship me the samples, or like ship me a sample, looks good, but then ship directly those 2,000 units to Amazon. You can do that. Then the warehouse, they have a term for it. It's escaping me, but it's like a beginning to end type of warehouse. Yeah, you have to make sure that factory that's the beginning to end process. Some of them not. If they don't, you would work with like a freight. I always get it wrong, but that's like a shipping company to do the logistics and the customs and all those things. But again, that's all private label, but you could directly have it from your factory to Amazon. But it's just more risk, and you're only doing one item at a time. So if you got the wrong item, you're out of money.
Do I have to have a separate entity and have a TIN, or can I use my own social security number?
You can use your own social security number. You do not need an LLC. You can just do it as a sole proprietorship, which is essentially under your name, right? So you're selling under your own name and with your own social security number, and it goes on your same tax. You work with a tax preparer, but I think it's like Schedule C, just gets added there like a side business. So you really don't need much. I did get an EIN, but I still did it as a sole proprietorship. I didn't get an LLC for Amazon arbitrage. I just preferred not putting my social security number. I honestly don't know. Like, it's safe. It's Amazon. It doesn't go anywhere. You have to give it to your W-2 job anyway. So this is kind of similar. You give them the social security number and then they approve your account. And the first class in the bootcamp covers that because they do send some sort of verification code to your address. Oh yeah, but you only need your social security number is good to go.
And then can I do both FBM and FBA side by side? For
Yep.
example, 80% FBA and 20% FBM.
Yep, that's a great method. And many people do that as well because there's some items that just due to the weight or the volume, it makes no sense to do FBA. Like imagine selling a stroller. The weight of that, like I don't know how they do it, but maybe it makes some items might make more sense to just ship it directly you to the customer and save on all those Amazon fees, or really expensive items for multiple reasons. Like maybe you want to make sure if you have like what are those, like special Lego whatever set or special shoes, and you're like, I don't want if the customer complains and I had no way to check how Amazon shipped it, that way you have more control over it, right? You're like, no, I shipped it in this state. Sorry, let me hang this up. I'm getting a call. So you'd be able to give it more like a special shipment and take pictures in case there is like a complaint claim. So maybe more expensive items or super heavy items or special items than you want to do FBM. You can definitely do both.
All right. I don't see any other questions. We'll wait a moment here if anybody has any additional questions.
So now clarify with the FBM as well. Another instance where it comes so handy. There was a time where there was, how did this happen? There was so many sales of an item, my bestseller, that all the sellers who were selling that, we ran out of the FBA. Essentially, the warehouses ran out of stock of that item. And so we all shipped more, but it does take time until it gets to the warehouse and Amazon checks it in and puts it into like, okay, now there's stock until they can claim that it's prime, essentially, right? From the time from your house to the warehouse. Sometimes they do internal transfer too, because I ship all to one warehouse, but then that's not the final warehouse. They might then internally distribute to like Oregon, North Carolina, whatever. They like distribute it. So that might take 2 to 3 weeks from the moment you ship until it's like checked in, as in like, okay, now if I were to buy, it takes only 2 days to ship to me. So when Amazon ran out, we all ship more, but the ones that we had FBM, like I kept some and I listed them. And that, okay, sure, it's not as fast Prime. Maybe it was like 3-4 days, but it's faster than, now I was prioritized, right? Even, which is a strategy, even if I price it a little bit more than the lowest price, Amazon was still putting my item as the one like to buy when you click buy now, because it was a faster shipping. And Amazon really prioritizes on the shipping, even if the item is priced more, which is a great tip as a customer. When you go on Amazon, you're going to go buy the product. Scroll down a little bit where they add to cart. Just scroll down, because sometimes it tells you like other offers or other sellers, and you might save $1 sometimes or whatnot if you don't care about speed. If you choose a different seller that might have it priced less, but the shipping might take a little bit longer. All that to say that sometimes, FBM, you could do it on the same item, run both at the same time, and sometimes get your FBM for a particular reason like this, where there's just nothing on the warehouses at Amazon, and you'd actually be faster with FBM. Go ahead, Mayura.
All right, we got another question. Evelyn, you said that you mainly work on this on Saturdays. Is that fast enough for the customer to wait for their order? Do you or Amazon promise how fast their items are shipped?
Because I do FBA, it does not matter to the customer doesn't realize, right? So I only do Saturday because that's the day my girls are with their dad, or like Friday evening too. So it works for me where I'm alone and I can focus on it. But all I'm focused is like a stocking Amazon warehouse. The customer is not gonna feel it. It's probably, if I run out of stock, if Amazon warehouse doesn't have my stock, they're just gonna put some other seller's product there if there is. So the customer doesn't feel it. And I ship also enough to cover like 2-3 months worth of what I estimate there's going to be in sales. So if I estimate this item is going to sell 50 units a month, I will ship anywhere from like 100 to 150 of them at once. So that's Saturday, I go to the store, I buy 100 units, I prep 100 units, and I ship 100 units. And it might take 3 weeks to get there, but it's going to cover me for the next 2-3 months. So then on month 2, as it's like dwindling now my stock to like back down to like, I only have now 40 items left, then I'll go ahead and buy another 100, 150 and ship them again, so that I'm always planning to have stock at the warehouse and not run out. But I'm also not, I don't have to work every day. I do one Saturday for that item, spread 2-3 months apart. And you build your little items. I only had like maybe 10, 12 items, I'm just replenishing them. It's not like I'm finding 100 different products and all of that, because my time does not allow for that. The people that make a lot of money, yes, they're spending time finding as many products as they can, stocking as many as they can, going to clearance aisles, going to 10 different stores. I do like 2-3 stores, and I do only a few items. And then when they run out of stock, I just replenish them. And sometimes they stop being profitable because they start, like, the price maybe starts dropping. And then I move on. Fine. Then maybe I find another one. I try to keep it very simple so that I can do my other things too. Like I started biking, so that takes 3-4 hours out of my weekend, Saturday and Sunday. So yeah, I try to streamline this as much as I can and just keep it as a side hustle.
All right, awesome, wonderful. Any remaining questions? I just dropped the bootcamp link in the comments webinar chat here. And yeah, we'll take questions today, tomorrow, and leading up to class at noon on Friday morning.
Mayura Garg has a question. She has her
Oh,
hand raised.
I think she had asked her
Oh,
questions
yeah,
already.
it was in there.
Okay, cool. Cool. Oh,
All right.
Gina says, how much money roughly did you start this business, including monthly fees that you mentioned?
Okay, I went all in and I did a super huge shipment. So I probably spent that very first month close to like 3,000 worth of inventory. But again, remember, on that following month, I already had 9,000 gross sales and my profit was $1,400. So I invested a lot because I bought a lot of things. I've heard of people starting with 500, which covers then just your supplies, which you can get for 100 to 200. And then your subscriptions are going to run around $130 a month, I think is more or less what the subscriptions cost, or $140 a month. So with 500, you can get all your starting things and a little bit of inventory. If you don't have a lot to start with, then you would focus on clearance items. You would do clearance aisles, or like sales. Sometimes they have sites like everything is 50% off, everything's 20% off. So you would kind of focus on those. knowing though, when you run out of stock, you might not be able to replenish those. So then you have to invest more time, right? When you don't have money, you usually invest time. When you don't have time, you usually invest money. So if you just focus on clearance items and then you run out of stock, you're probably going to have to research and source new products, but your profit is also probably going to be bigger on those sale items that you can then reinvest and start growing from there. I had savings. I felt comfortable putting more money and just focusing on replenishable items that I can buy when they run out of stock. They weren't on sale. I can just go to the store and buy them for the same price and just ship somewhere. So we discuss all of that as well, like different strategies to do, and kind of what categories to focus to. Some categories are better to avoid. Let's just say one, like electronics. Don't do electronics. It's just, why would you complicate your life when you're starting something new, right? Chances are it's gonna arrive. What if it doesn't work? Electronics are also more expensive. And no, just so there's some categories are easier and some are a little bit trickier.
Awesome. No more questions. Is your profit and loss table for a single item or for all of your items?
No, that was all. The profit and loss statement is like for your tax time. It's all your possible income and all your possible expenses, whether it was cost of goods sold, Amazon fees, supplies, mileage, hotel, meals, whatever you deduct that is business applicable. And again, I not only deduct the one for this business, but if I do other things that are business related to, I just deduct it there because, like, for example, the private label one, right? I was exploring private label and I need a subscription, and that's a business subscription. That's not a personal one. So I deducted it. It's like an Amazon fee to me. It's a business subscription. So I deducted it there. So profit and loss is literally everything, all of it. You could look though, one specific item. Inventory Lab has that too. By category, by item, by store, by month, period of time, specific day you want to look at. The last webinar we did earlier, earlier in the year, I think I picked, what was it, like a February 14. I was like, well, how much I made on Valentine's Day? And it was like, I pulled that day and it said $60 profit. So I was like, oh, cool. Like, you can just look up the profit of a specific day or specific item. However, it tracks everything.
Awesome. Can you briefly give a general overview of how you identify what's a good product to sell? How do you source the items and how do you calculate how much inventory to hold?
Yes. I personally don't do online arbitrage. I like doing retail arbitrage, which is the one where you go to a store. So how I get started, I go to the store, and since I don't like to hang out at the store for hours on end, I actually take pictures of the product, making sure I can see the size, like the ounces, for example, if it's a sauce, and the price of the product. Then I come home with those pictures and I start looking up each one on Amazon and on Keepa. On Amazon, if I see that it's like twice the amount of that price or less, I don't even bother to keep going on the different steps. So say I buy it for $5 and it says on Amazon it would sell for 10 or 9 or 8. I stop right there because I know between Amazon fees and whatnot, there's not going to be enough profit, if any at all. But if I see 12 or even better, right, like 15 and more, okay, I'm going to go to the next step, which is finding out exactly how much profit it would be. Looking at Keepa, there's many different things we have to look at Keepa. How stable is the price? How many sellers? Okay, all of this is why there's a bootcamp at high level. You then do your research on Keepa, and once you determine, yes, it's profitable and yes, it's selling quite a bit. How much is quite a bit for you may vary. You may be happy with like 4 sales a month, but I try to at least where it would be 20 sales a month for me. So maybe if I see 5 sellers, I would want to see 100 sales a month for that particular item when I'm looking at Keepa, right? So that I know more or less, if we all get more or less the same sales, I'll get about 20. So all these things are going through your head. So it has to be profitable. It has to sell enough times a month to pass your criteria that you want to sell it. And then I try to stock 2 to 3 month worth, not more than that, because then you go into long-term storage fees. It's not long-term actually, but they started spiking it. Before it was like first 6 months or really low fees. But now the first increased tier is like at the 3-month mark. So I try not to overstock Amazon because there is a limit. I've never reached the actual volume limit, but there's also the warehouse fees, which are just like pennies. Like it's not even something to take into account. But if you start going into too many months, then it probably starts adding up. So hopefully that answers profitable, moves enough, and then I only stock then the estimated sales that I would get for 2 or 3 months. And during the bootcamp, we do so many examples of looking at Keepa charts, reading Keepa charts. There's some odd things that sometimes happen where like what if it's a new listing, there is no history, or what if like it has many sellers, but sometimes you see on Keepa that actually only one seller tends to get 99% of the time the sales. Like why it's that, and trying to understand whether that's a good purchase or not, because it might be profitable, but again, if you never get the sale, there's no point in stocking that item, right? The other thing, sometimes the price could go down and it's no longer profitable, but usually in that case, you don't really lose money. Like usually at the bottom, the worst case scenario, you end up selling for the price you maybe like the break even price, not the price you bought for, but maybe they break even, which is like the one you bought for plus the Amazon fees. So sometimes you make a bad buy, or like it was a good buy, by the time you ship it, I don't know, the price went down because some other seller decided to lower the price and it ruined it for everybody, and you don't have the patience to wait it out, so you just decide to sell it out. But it's usually not like sell for zero, right? So it's not like you lose completely all your money either. It's just maybe you determine, I'm going to get the payment from Amazon and just buy a different product.
Just a comment. Let's see. I am surprised to hear that you can find items which sell on Amazon much higher than what one can find in the store. I guess some people just don't go to stores anymore. When I use Amazon, I use because it's cheaper than buying from the store.
So I'm like that too, and I was very surprised too, because I'm like, even when I'm at Target, sometimes I'm like, I wonder if I can get it cheaper on Amazon. There are many items that are actually cheaper on Amazon, and you get it shipped on top of that, and you get 5% back if you use the Amazon card. So I'm like, why? I always check. But a lot of people, like we said, like for some people, time is money. They don't want to bother. They don't enjoy. Like why take the car, gas, parking, people, viruses, and then have to find it at the store. Maybe they don't even have it at the store, or like drive pickup. They don't deal with none of that. It's on Amazon, I'll buy it. I don't care if I could have saved $5, $10. Maybe they have so much what's that called, discretionary income. They could care less. They're paying for convenience. So also, if you sometimes get a moral questioning yourself, what are you doing? Are you profiting of others? They're buying convenient. Like, remind yourself, you are bringing convenience to people, right? You are the one going to the store, buying all these things, stocking Amazon. It's a business like any other, and people are willingly choosing to buy it for that price. So they are buying convenience, knowing that they could find it at another store cheaper if they know where to find it. Some people also don't even know where to find it. And some things you have to keep in mind, some things are only regional specific, which is also like an idea for you. If you're in California, and California has a specific sauce that is like famous over here and created over here, somebody moved to New York, they're like, no store here sells this sauce. Where can I find it? They go to Amazon, and maybe it costs 5 times more. Like, some items are so profitable that you make not only your money back, but like 100, right? Like you double it essentially. Like some items is just ridiculous. You can also sell internationally. You can sell to Mexico. That one of those toys, I listed it, and I guess I didn't realize that I had it active to where like people in Mexico could buy my item. So there was like this specific toy was all bought by like, it was all being shipped to Mexico for whatever reason. Maybe they didn't carry it there, but it sold so quickly, it sold so fast, and you're like, yeah, you're gonna find it at a store, but maybe they don't have that store convenient to them, right? Or maybe it's something that is like special to them in some regards, time constraint or whatnot.
All right. Let's see. So we have another question. So I want to answer the boot camp question before I think we go any further. So the boot camp starts this Friday, November the 3rd at noon, noon to 1 p.m. every single week. We go for an hour every single time, so you'll have about 6 hours with Noemi. And she, I think, has engagement points in addition where she'll add you to a community where she can answer your questions and so forth. And we'll also be recording all the sessions. So if you buy and you can't attend, you can always watch later. And Noemi will send out a weekly recap email with this recording that is available on the Albert's List YouTube channel to just those who purchase. So yeah. And if she has any other programming involved as well, if she's meeting in person or anything like that, then she can probably speak to those. And that'll probably be decided once the camp begins. Another question, and I think we'll take, how much time do you have left?
I'm already quite over time because I do have to drive out and get ready for
Okay.
that, but I'll take like one or two if they're already kind of here.
Okay. We'll take the final two questions and then we'll go. How do you boost your ranking in a saturated space, or do you not target those?
No, I don't target those because I don't run any ads. I don't spend in any type of rankings or anything. I just already buy the item that is already well ranked and already selling.
Gotcha. And then final question, when a customer returns an item to Amazon FBA, what happens to it?
It depends on the item. For example, if it's a if say sorry, getting stuck here. Let's say like that nuts example, right? The customer get the nuts and then it arrive all broken and they request a refund or return. They're not gonna return it. Even if they were to return it, Amazon's not gonna resell that because it's an edible item. It's just liability. So that one just gets disposed of. You never see it. It just, that's it, the end of it. If it's something like clothing that you're selling, it would make it back to the Amazon warehouse, and then if it's just like it wasn't even open, it's ready to just get resold, reshipped, Amazon just stocks it right away and lists it. And you don't even have to do anything. It just shows up in your inventory and it gets resold. But if it's like it needs some sort of work, then they would put it in like a category where it's like you've got these many returns, and then you can choose, do you want it shipped back to you? You can tweak a lot of preferences there too, but essentially they then let you choose, like, do you want to dispose of it? Do you want to return to you, so that then you can like repackage it or whatever, quality control, and possibly ship it back to the warehouse? Or do you want to, there's another option that's like sold to like a, what are those things, like a, it's not coming to work. But when you buy like super cheap, it's not clearance either. There's some word for it. Those you've probably seen some videos like, oh, buy Amazon return pallets for like $10. You get this huge box of random returns on Amazon. So you can like put your items into that type of thing where like Amazon will just give you so little money, but you're essentially selling it to Amazon so that then they get rid of it to some other of those companies that just receive Amazon returns on those boxes. Some companies don't want it to return to them to recheck. They're just like, get rid of it and give me the few dollars or whatever it is. And I don't know how that price gets determined, but that doesn't happen to me because I deal with groceries. So I take that risk of, hey, if there is a return, I just eat the cost. The good thing with groceries though is that there's barely any returns. I've had on one of those screenshots, when you rewatch it, you can see out of all the items and do the calculation because there's a column for returns too. And it comes out to less than 2%, which is very, very low return for any category. But that money is just lost in the essence. I can't resell it or anything like that.
All right. Cool. Well, there's no other questions. Our bootcamp link is here in the chat. We look forward to seeing some of you joining, and we'll follow up with a recording afterwards. Thank you again, Noemi, for joining us and also staying back to answer a ton of questions. We appreciate all your time, and we look forward to seeing you Friday and at other future Albert's List events. Thank you so
I
much,
look
and we will
forward
chat with you
to
soon.
anybody joining that I have a personal stake at it too, right? It's like my own pride, kind of. I see it. If you have children, you relate to this. Like when you invest time on your children, teach them things, and they finally do something and they flourish, you're like, you have that personal feeling of like, yes, I did that. Sure, they did that, but like I did that too, right? So I'm very excited for those to join to see your success and get your first sales. And even though there is an end to the bootcamp, especially if it's like a small group, I end up just, naturally drawn to like seeing your success, your progress, and all that as well. So look forward to seeing you if you decide to join. Thank you so much for your time too. Thank you, Albert, for hosting.
Thank you so much. See you all soon. Bye.